Does Pepe have what it takes to make you a millionaire? Well, it really depends on the price action for this token and how much you are holding. But how much at these prices should you be holding or the Shiba Inu today to expect to see some big returns or even the $1 million dream with this meme? Well, let's talk a little bit about it in this video as I'm in a Pepe trade right now. There's some volatility for trading, certainly, but I do think that Pepe is one of the top memes. We saw Dogecoin, Shiba Inu do some spectacular things in the past. I think those are still going to do well in this bull market, but I believe that Pepe can outperform. By how much? Well, let's talk a little bit about all this in this video, guys. First off, I want you guys to acknowledge that the fear and greed index is a little more inched towards fearful right now, starting to move from greed to fear. And our altcoin season index is very much skewed towards a Bitcoin favored market. What does that mean for Pepe and for altcoins? Well, it simply means this, guys. People are a little more fearful of altcoins right now. And what that means, in my opinion, not financial advice, is when people are fearful of an asset, whether it's the stock market or Bitcoin or altcoins like Pepe, when you see that fear, that is historically some of the best buying opportunities that you are going to get on any given asset. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the price of Pepe. Let's jump into the chart here. As you look at Pepe on the daily time frame, we are touching down to some of these previous candle highs that we've kind of seen a touchdown to. So in the short term, I am in a little bit of a Pepe long because, again, I do believe that Pepe is going to perform well in this market. But in the immediate next few days, potentially, we could see a little bit of a bounce here. Now, I am prepared to either set a stop loss or, risk a potential liquidation on this trade because I do believe there is a level of support. That's my personal strategy on this trade right now. But I also want to tell you guys, if you're not interested in trading and you're more interested in just holding this coin, this is a fearful time for altcoins. You can see that Bitcoin dominance is shooting up, which means that Pepe is a little bit undervalued versus Bitcoin right now, as well as many of the altcoins. Bitcoin has showed a little bit of weakness. If Bitcoin starts to shoot up again, and it looks like it might want to, altcoins should probably rally alongside it. So I am looking for a potential bounce here. Now, this is, like I said, a discounted price for Pepe. Now, is it as discounted as it was in February of 2024? Well, no. And if you had bought in February 2024, you would right now be up 13 or 14x on Pepe already. And we did talk about Pepe around those times. But does it mean you're too late to become a Pepe millionaire? Well, no, not exactly. And why do I say that? I'm going to jump back over to this, and I want to show you guys kind of some basic math, right? If Pepe can be as successful as Dogecoin was at its peak and achieve the previous market cap high, that's an 18x from the current price. The current price of Pepe at 116. Okay? An 18x from here for Pepe would bring it to 302, okay? And that would bring Pepe from a $4 billion market cap to an $88 billion market cap. If you want to become a Pepe millionaire, at the very least, okay, to make it even possible, right? I would think you would have to have probably about $50,000 in Pepe. Now, that's a lot of money, right? Because $50,000 times, let's call it 20x, guys, that's $1 million. Over $50,000 you'd probably need in Pepe to become a millionaire, to like have a real possible chance to become a Pepe millionaire. Why do I say that? Because I think that it's possible for Pepe to do what Dogecoin's done in the past. I think this is a possible scenario. What I'm not saying is this is going to happen. I'm not saying this is a highly likely scenario. I'm saying that it is a possibility. And so I do believe that Pepe could easily 10x in this bull market with a higher degree of certainty than at least this $88 billion market cap. I do think that a 10x for Pepe doing maybe what Shiba Inu has done in the past, getting up to like 40 something billion is very possible, okay? We see a Doge ETF coming out this year. We see probably a Pepe ETF coming out at some point in the future. Pepe took a long time to get its exchange listings, but eventually it did, and I think you're going to see a lot more come in the future for Pepe in terms of mass adoption and excitement. It is just a meme coin. Meme coins are extremely risky, but I believe that if you've got about $50,000 or $60,000 in Pepe, you could potentially become a Pepe millionaire. Well, what if you're sitting there with $10,000 in Pepe? Can you become a Pepe millionaire? Well, I mean, at that point, you're actually looking for a 100x on Pepe. And a 100x on Pepe would bring it to a $480 billion market cap. Are we going to see Pepe, the meme coin, become a $480 billion market cap? I think that's a little bit of a stretch, especially for this bull market. When you look at the big picture, the total market cap for cryptocurrency right now is very simply put sitting at $3.2 trillion, which is a lot of money. But Pepe only makes up 4.8 billion of the 3.2 trillion. So looking at that market share, in order for Pepe to do even to do the 10x or the 20x, you need to see our total market cap go 5x, 10x. Because what I think is going to happen is I think the altcoins are going to start outperforming Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin dominance is going to fall. I think you're going to have a big Pepe rally at some point when this Bitcoin dominance chart falls like we've seen in the past. When Bitcoin dominance starts to fall, that means altcoins are rallying. That doesn't mean Bitcoin's falling in price. That just simply means that altcoins are starting to outperform Bitcoin, which is something that we see historically at some very specific moments. The key thing holding us back right now are the tariff concerns right now and the administration continuing to battle with China and now the EU imposing tariffs on steel and a variety of things across the globe right now. Why is this relevant for Pepe? Well, because you need the president and the tariff thing to kind of get settled, okay? Because the tariffs are causing fear over inflation, and the inflation fears are preventing the Fed from cutting rates. And that Fed rate cut is the thing I think that is going to drive Pepe coin a lot higher and other risk on assets. Bitcoin, Pepe, and probably trigger an altcoin rally. I am in a Pepe trade right now. It is a little bit in the red, but there is a chance here that Pepe finds a bottom. What I'm going to do is just show you guys. I'm going to set a little bit of a stop loss here. Actually, I'm not actually going to set a stop loss on this trade. I'm just going to let this one ride. If this position doesn't turn out the right way, that's fine for me. But I do believe that we are seeing a little bit of a exaggerated sell-off on this tariff news for Bitcoin right now. There are so many bullish things going on for Bitcoin right now. But the tariff news did drive us down. I think from this oversold moment, I think there's a chance that folks come in and buy the dip, which is why I wanted to, in the very short term, potentially catch a bounce off of this trend line right here for Pepe. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. That's all I have for you guys in this one. I'm Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. You want to sign up for Blowfin, do some trading with us. You can sign up using our link in the description down below, up to a $5,000 deposit bonus if you want to check it out. Until next time, DCA, HODL, do your own research, my friends. I got 2 videos here if you want to check them out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.